Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network, the number one network in the United States of America. And also Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I do want to say I appreciate you so much from Latin America. So bienvenidos. Thank you for following Big C Sports. No matter if they build that wall or not, you can still tune in to Big C Sports on the iHeart Radio Network and also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. And you good old boys up in Canada. Whoa, Canada, our home and native land. I hit that out the box, Big C. I don't care what you say, but there's no one I love more than them good old boys down there in the land of the free and the home of the brave from 3,000 miles away, Big C. How do you get on the airways? Is that wall that Donald Trump is trying to build stopping you, Big C? Your thoughts? Yeah, that's what I heard, Big Z. Yeah, I guess the only dam he's building is when Spicer has to say, "Damn, you said something else." So that's the only dam he has to worry about. I do want to say today is it is actually Women's Month. I want to congratulate all the women all over the world that are marching for opportunities and to be, acknowledged like Rosa Parks did back in the day when she wouldn't give up her seat on the bus. I do want to say today is March the 8th, 2017, and I do appreciate so much that's happening in the world of sports, but also in the world of the political scene, Big C. I've been seeing women from every hue on the planet, black and white, all religions, different ethnic groups, people who speak different languages, and they're having a stance of solidarity, kind of like when Louis Farrakhan did the Million Man March back in the day at about 2 decades ago, and people criticize it anyway. Your thoughts on what it means for women to see solidarity all over the world, Big C?
Well, we're talking about, I think the importance is just laid out by the women, being out there, Charlton.
Yeah.
When you see them, and it's not about a cultural thing, Charlton. It's not an ethnicity thing. It's a gender thing. And, when you find out the strength of women in the world and what they mean, the power that they possess,
yeah,
I think the rest of the world at that point, Charlton, starts to take notice. Especially when you don't get your dinner cooked at home.
That may get a lot of people in trouble saying, I know Donald Trump said, in fact, I heard Melania, she was being interviewed by someone on some news program, and they asked her this very poignant question, and they said, what makes Donald angry? And she said, well, he gets angry when dinner's not ready. And I said, well, she knows she's not American. You know she's not black, BC, so your thoughts? Yeah. Yeah.
When my children were 2.
Yeah.
And everything was mine.
Mine, yeah.
Like, you don't even have a job.
Yeah.
But that's how he runs around every day trying to run the country.
Yeah.
Mine. Whatever I say is mine. Whatever we're going to do is mine.
Yeah.
Taking credit for everything that's positive in America, that these things are already going anyway. It's almost, he's acting like he walked into a room and turned on a light switch and America started functioning.
Yeah.
Trump, not for Trump.
And see,
this is the thing we have to understand as an American.
Yeah.
The United States of America was already functional.
Yeah.
Has been functional for a long time. Has been a solid entity for a long time. So when somebody says we're going to make America great again, I want those people that are walking around with those hats and tell me what they hated about America for the past 5, 10, 20 years that kept them from leaving America, Charlton, okay?
Yeah.
If America was such a bad place, why did they not leave America? Since they want to walk around and say, we're going to make America great again. Okay, Charlton, especially those owners.
Yeah.
Was your health care cut off? Was your Medicaid cut off? Was your Social Security cut off? Was your lights cut off? Were you in a dictatorial country where you were in a police state?
Yeah.
Tell me what part of America has not been great. Nothing is perfect, Charlton.
Right.
But there's a lot of places you don't want to live other than America.
Well, Big C, and that's so beautiful. And I just want to say that this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. One of the things that I'm also realizing is that POTUS, when they drive around that beast, is also it is not an Escalade, but it is a Cadillac, Big C. Does Cadillac decide that they want to boycott giving the president their car to drive around? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, unfortunately, Charlton, that was already bought by the government, and it was built by Cadillac, but they don't sponsor this golf tournament anymore.
Yeah.
They saw the low part of his representation.
Yeah.
As a person. They pulled out sponsorship on Donald Trump as a person, not as the president,
Yeah.
as a person. So we're one of the largest, manufacturers in America.
The best.
Pulls out its sponsorship, and he's talking about what all he's going to do for GM. GM is the one who walked away from him. So all of a sudden, GM this past week, Charlton, announced that they were laying off, I believe, it was 1,500 workers or something like that.
Well, I thought Donald Trump saved those jobs, Big C.
But that's what he said. This was already announced prior to his presidency.
Okay.
And they made it public, just like with the 43,000 jobs that ExxonMobil is going to create over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, that was announced in 2013.
Yeah.
But he's acting like they just made the announcement this past week.
Yeah.
That announcement was made while Rex Tillerson was running ExxonMobil, who is now the Secretary of State of the United States.
Yeah. Well,
They didn't put somebody in place in ExxonMobil, Charlton, in the last month, and all of a sudden this guy said, I'm going to create 43,000 jobs.
Yeah.
And this is what people need to understand. When they say give him a chance to tell the truth.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Well, you know what's funny is we talked about the Kellyanne Conway, how she was out stumping for Trump, and actually she does a pretty good job because no matter what he does, she just says whatever he tells her to say. I haven't seen her much on TV anymore. Yeah.
Charlton, have you ever seen anybody with a dog that didn't like him?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know. Well, this was. Yeah.
Everybody will listen to the show. And trust me, I'm not calling her a four-legged animal.
Oh, no, not at all. No.
But what I am saying is that when you have something that you have in your house that depends on you solely,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that thing is happy every time it sees you and talks about you.
Well, you know, it's funny when you bring that up because.
I have a brother, Charlton. He had this Rottweiler.
Yeah.
And this dog was huge. This dog was a behemoth.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even a dog. It was so big.
Yeah.
And when we saw, we'd walk in the backyard and we walk out there. I mean, you see him and the dog's head just stood up on his back.
Yeah.
And he was moving, taking breath. But my brother would walk out there and the dog was like, he couldn't even contain himself. Everything on his body was shaking and moving and stuff.
Yeah.
So we asked him one day, so why does he act like this around you?
Yeah.
He's like, I feel him.
Yeah. That's funny. So is that what Melania Trump meant? If Dennis not ready, he's upset. Is that what you meant to say, Big Z? That's so funny.
Kellyanne Conway, he sees to the crap that she gives to the American public.
Yeah.
He makes sure she got something to eat on her table.
Yeah.
So whatever, there's nothing he can do wrong.
Well, I thought it was funny after we saw her with her feet up on the couch at the White House, and only people who do that are people who feel very, very comfortable in your house where they can put their feet up on your sofa, Big C. But yeah, I understand, Big C. All the mud you have, all the mud you have on that Escalade. Sometimes I say I'll just take the bus. Who was that actor back in the day? I think his name was Rock. He played Rock on a TV show. He was a garbage. Oh, he's an amazing actor, but they had a movie called Get on the Bus or something like that. And that's what I felt like when I saw your Escalade. You said you need a ride. I said, no, I'm fine. I got it. I'm good. but it reminds me of this lady that worked at Fox Television. I think her name is Megan Kelly. And I remember when at NBC, yeah, they moved her over. But a lot of people forget. They keep thinking when Donald Trump said he likes to grab women by the private area, by the vagina, and he can get away with it. Well, remember when he said on that program that he told her she's probably bleeding out of different parts? That was on national TV, and people during the campaign.
One of the reasons why Fox, no longer wanted her to live is because she couldn't sit there and be a surrogate.
Yeah.
Trump with the blasphemy that he used, the disrespectfulness
Yeah.
that he used towards Kelly, for Megan Kelly.
Yeah.
On a national broadcast program, Trump, and he was using denigrating remarks towards a woman.
Yeah.
And he lied that he's had the utmost respect for women, Charlton, as a president, saying, but he made that disparaging comment about Megan Kelly that you're probably sitting there bleeding from various body parts. That's why he's so angry right now.
Now, isn't that something? And when you tie that in with the Women's March all over the world today, I'm so glad you brought that up, Big C, because people just let that go. Imagine if President Barack Obama was saying that same thing to Megan Kelly, that you look like you're bleeding out of all your body parts or some other parts you're bleeding from. The white media would have castrated the guy. In the media, they would have done that. Yeah. So what? So Donald Trump gets a pass on that. There's another one that's trying to get, I guess she's trying to get Kellyanne Conway's job. Her name is, I think it's Katie McElhenney. She's on CNN News. She's one of those bleached out blondes that bleached her hair out and everything. And everything Donald says, she doesn't even see the other side of it. So a lot of that's going on in America. Even though you're right about something, Big C, and I want to pat you in the back about this. We talk about the CTE thing going on in football. It's about medical care. We talk about all of these athletes getting ready for baseball, spring training. They all have the best medical care. Congress has great medical care. You said this, and I'm starting to see it. People that are so dumb, they don't even know that the Affordable Care Act is Obamacare. Now you have these good old boys even fighting to keep Obamacare now that Trump wants to take it away from them. And he said his plan is going to repeal and replace. A lot of Republicans are saying it's the same damn plan. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you spoke about athletes. What do athletes have to do every year when they report to training camp?
Physical.
Okay? They have to take a physical.
Yeah.
They're mandated to take a physical. Professional athletes are the only companies and corporations in America where they force their players, their employees, to take physicals.
Yeah.
No other company provides that in America for potential employees, Jonathan. And I'm not talking about people that are on the team. I'm talking about everybody show up.
Yeah.
Draft picks, free agents, all of that. Coaches. Everybody has to go in and take a complete physical. Now think about if every employee was afforded that in America. And we're not talking about just once.
Yeah.
This happens every year. And if you're traded to another team or you're released and picked up by another team, Jonathan, you have to take a physical. Think about the affordability of being able to have physical service. And in these physicals, Jonathan, if you have any medical abnormalities, it's detected because that's how intense these physicals are that these athletes have to get through. And think about the layman American having to fight, Jonathan, just to take a basic physical, to be able to get insurance, to take a basic physical, to be able to take their children to the doctor when they're sick instead of having to go to an emergency room.
Yeah.
So those who can afford it don't understand it.
Well, Big C, that's very powerful that you bring that up because Congress never talks about repealing and replacing their own medical care. We cover the NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL football, NHL, the UFC, everything, Major League Soccer. We cover everything, NCAA high schools. And you're right, every single one of those athletes, if they did not have some type of insurance, they would not be allowed to play. And now you have quotas, and when we put it in a sports venue, Big C, athletes can get injured, they can go out and get surgery. Some guys can come back and play right now, whether you look at a guy like Kevin Durant for the Golden State Warriors. I don't know if Love is going to be back for Cleveland. I mean, there's always guys that can come back.
They're supposed to be back in the playoffs, Charles. When you talk about Congress,
Yeah.
what if Congress had to use the Affordable Care Act? But if anybody in Washington, D.C. in politics on Capitol Hill,
Yeah.
you know where they can go if they have a problem talking?
What's that?
There's this place called Walter Reed Medical
Oh, yeah, the best.
You know, one of the best in the nation, in the world.
In the world, yeah.
This is where the president goes to have their checkup. And so if this is where the president goes because you can't get any better medical care, and all of the politicians in Washington are allowed to have their medical care done at Walter Reed. What if they had a problem, if they had to go to the local emergency room, Jonathan,
Yeah.
and was not afforded the luxury of going to Walter Reed? We don't hear any politician, as you said, and I respect the way you said that, have them give up their medical care while they're repealing Obamacare. Why does not Congress, the House, the Senate, all of this, Jonathan, abstain from having medical care?
Well, do you?
In the time that they're repealing Obamacare, that they're not allowed to have government medical care. They have to go out and seek their own private medical care.
Yeah.
Let the American public vote on that.
Well, you know.
Back at that point,
Yes.
they abolish it? No.
Well, we have Mitch McConnell, who looks like he's about to drop any second. He wanted to make, President Obama a one-term president. What an anti-American thing to say, that you want your country to fail just because you don't like black men in power. And that's what the knucklehead said. And he stands there like he's gloating, he's doting over Donald Trump, a guy. Both of these guys, they need health care. If anyone needs it, they need it along with Rush Limbaugh.
Mitch McConnell, he's a guy, damn near 90 years old, don't have a wrinkle on his face.
I thought he was like 100 years old the way he looks, Big C. Yeah, okay.
He's fighting age.
Yeah.
He's doing all he can to repeal age.
Yeah.
So he's in there getting Botox and any other rejuvenation medication that he can get, Charlton.
Yeah.
But here it is, he wants to take it away from the American public. And I guarantee you, Charlton, that Botox treatment did not come out of his pocket, nor does any other healthcare issues, whether he's getting his new dentures or getting hair plugs put in, Charlton.
Well, I never, and I'm okay for men doing what they do. I know I shave my hair because I like the way it looks. And I know a lot of men, when they start running out of hair, Big C, they'll start buying horse hair and having it glued. Well, who was the brother? It was Sam Jackson. He played Jules in Pulp Fiction, and he had that Jerry curl. He and John Travolta. John Travolta had his all slicked back, but they didn't get hair plugs, Big C. They just put on a wig, from what I understand. Why don't men just put on a wig the way women did back in the day, Big C? I remember Doris Day, Diana Ross. They all had wigs. What happened to the wig? Now they're sewing horse hair in the scalp, Big C. Your thoughts? Yeah.
My body, people gonna think that I'm young.
Yeah.
Just because I got it across the front and I have nothing in the back. It's gonna make me look a certain way. But Charlton, I had a teammate years ago.
Yeah.
We used to tease him about it. This guy was in his 20s and he had hair plugs.
Yeah.
Because he was so vain about his looks. I said, but it's obvious what you did.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. It's like Brian Urlacher. Everybody got on Urlacher a couple years ago. He had the hair plugs put in because it wasn't natural. You've been bald for a decade.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you got hair. Where did it come from?
Well, I noticed Jim Nantz. He's going to be doing the Masters coming up, and of course he does a lot of March Madness. They showed an angle on Jim Nantz. From the front, he's only 56 or 57. From the front, it looks fine. But I think he was on CBS Morning Noon with Oprah Winfrey's friend. I forgot her name for some reason.
Gail.
Oh, Gail. Okay, you know all the stars, Big C. I'm sorry. Okay, you Google it. But they showed Jim Nantz hardly has any hair. He had it all brushed over too. The one thing about these 4K definition televisions, you can see every pore on somebody's head and on if they don't have hair or not. I just think men should be brave like Michael Jordan because it makes you look good. If you have that look, I think Lou Gossett Jr. did it back in the day. A lot of guys do it now. They just shave the hair, and if people can get along with that, might put a lot of horses.
Think about Telly Savalas, Charlton.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yul Brynner made a career out of it. Telly Savalas played coach at.
Yep.
For years on TV. Yul Brynner, one of the greatest actors.
I remember the lollipop. I remember the lollipop.
You think him in the Magnificent Seven, and also in the Ten Commandments. You know, when he was just masterful going against Moses. You know.
Yeah.
You know, but Yul Brynner was a man's man, and he made ball chic.
Yeah.
And you think about the most chicest ball man of all time, Jonathan, Mr. Clean.
Oh yeah, Mr. Yeah.
But Mr. Clean, the chicest ball man of all time.
Is that where they have the woman in visualizing that her husband looked like Mr. Clean and she jumped on him on the sofa? Is that the one? Okay. That's funny. It makes everybody want to clean out. So, Big C, as we look into the world of the NFL, you know, the San Francisco 49ers, they made a couple of moves today, and maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not. But I know they got Hoyer as the quarterback. They pulled him in there because no one else is really signed. And then they just got another receiver that they got out of Washington from last year. Your thoughts on the Hoyer coming there and making a splash for the Niners?
Well, you know, I think Hoyer, when you look at Hoyer's career, he started out in New England. He's one of those protege Tom Brady backups.
Yeah.
He did have a little bit of success, Charlton, in Houston. He took him to the playoffs a couple of years.
Did he ever take him to a Super Bowl, Big C?
Never took him to a Super Bowl, but he didn't have any success in Chicago last year. That's the stumbling point.
Yeah.
He didn't have any success in Chicago, and so these are the things that people look at. He didn't have success in Cleveland when he was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So he had 1 year of minimal success in Houston, but they had one of the best defenses also, Charlton, in the NFL at that time. So when you look at bringing somebody in, bringing Pierre Garçon. Also,
Yeah.
You know, Garçon started his career in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
You know, he's had a couple of, medium years in Washington. You know, never really jumped out there in great all-pro status.
Yeah.
And Washington's going to lose a lot this year because Jackson most likely will leave also and go elsewhere. So, you know, where would Kirk Cousins be making $25 million with nobody throw the ball?
That's crazy.
When your top two receivers are gone because they can't get paid and they recognize it. So why stay around? You're paying him and we're making him money and we can't get paid. Players are too intelligent nowadays, Charlton. But when you look at San Francisco, you can bring all the quarterbacks in that you want. And Brian Hoyer's an injury prone.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of injuries throughout his career, whether it's knee, shoulder. You know, he's had these problems, so these are some concerns that you have to have. He's no healthier than any of the quarterbacks that you've had in the past year.
Yeah.
But the thing that San Francisco has to do, Charlton, is address that offensive line. I don't care if you got Tom Brady, whether you got Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
you know, whether you got Matt Ryan. If you don't have an offensive line and you can't read the name on the back of the jersey because of the grass,
Yeah.
you don't have a team.
Well, I mean, it's always going to be a work in progress. But I think the biggest news I've heard so far is how you're going to stop the New York Giants. They had Brandon Marshall and him and Beckham and Manning. You know, Manning's going to throw some interceptions. We know that. But now, who do you double team, Big C? You double team Marshall or you double team, Beckham? Which one do you go after?
Well, Charlton, we also had the rookie Sterling Shepard from last year from Oklahoma who was in the running for Rookie of the Year. Let me give you a tidbit on Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall, has had over 1,000 yards receiving with every NFL team he's played with, Charlton.
Yeah.
He holds a record with 14 over 1,000 yards in reception. He's going to do that with the Giants. Now, this is something that a lot of people may not remember. The last time the New York Giants had a 6'5" wide receiver, his name was Plaxico Burress.
Yeah.
And he caught a winning touchdown pass against a team that was in the Super Bowl that was 19-1.
Yeah.
Okay? So you think about what Eli Manning would do with great receivers. Eli has gotten a lot of credit over his career for his accolades.
Yeah.
He doesn't get blamed for the interceptions that he throws, though.
Yeah.
But the last time Eli Manning had a 6'5" wide receiver like Brandon Marshall,
Yeah.
he won a Super Bowl. So right now, this puts them neck and neck with the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC East in the division, Charlton.
Yeah, and see, the great thing that I like about Brandon, a lot like a lot of guys that want to get it, he could do both. He's very smart, very well-read. He's a natural on TV. He actually makes Phil Simms, kind of look antiquated, the way he speaks and the way he carries himself, Big C. And he's just given an opportunity. But now, here's a guy that makes a change in a different conference in the same city, doesn't have to relocate his family, and I think he's going to give the spark to the Giants that they've always needed, and you just brought up Plaxico Burress. Now let me ask you another question. Because they have these two guys that really you can't stop, I mean, if you're a defensive guy and you've been defense, you guys grab a lot and you guys like to hold a lot, Big C. Okay. Okay. Which one do you grab, Big C? If you're Josh Norman, which one do you grab if you got to shut down one of these receivers? Which one do you try to stop, Big C?
Well, you only talk about two, Charles, and there's three. Sterling Shepard out of Oklahoma. The kid can play.
You think he's better than Marshall?
You got a set of triplets out there, Charles, and that's the thing. I'm not saying he's better than Marshall.
Yeah.
But I'm like, who do you stop? Who do you guard? When you have three potentially all-pro receivers, Charles, on a roster.
Yeah.
And you have a proven veteran quarterback that still has some game left in him. Marshall just brings something else to the table. He just gives Eli a greater expansion of weapons.
Yeah.
But, as a defensive coordinator, how do you defend this team? It's like looking at Atlanta's offense last year.
Yeah.
When you sit there and you saw Julio Jones, all of a sudden Muhammad Sanu showed up, and everybody, knew how good a receiver A.J. Green was in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But they didn't realize how much of an impact that Muhammad Sanu had when he left. Cincinnati had his first losing record in almost a decade, Joe.
Yeah.
Marvin Lewis had been there when Muhammad Sanu left.
Yeah.
And then you bring in Gabriel, who was a cast off from Cleveland.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden Matt Ryan had a set of triplets that who do you defend?
That's
He had a workable tight end.
Yeah.
So when you got three receivers, it's easy to defend two receivers. So
Yeah.
you can double up one and play half the field on the other. But now that you got three receivers, Charlton, what that does is forces teams to go into more of a nickel coverage.
Yeah.
When you're playing five defensive backs and you only have two linebackers, where's the vulnerability?
Well, that's a
Vulnerability, Charlton,
yeah.
now is in that team's run defense.
That reminds
You have a greater ability to run the ball, Charlton.
Yeah.
You start at the first half of the Super Bowl when New England was only employing two defensive linemen.
Yeah.
New England was employing two down linemen and a bunch of linebackers.
Yeah.
Atlanta gassed them. But when they forced the hand and took the receivers out of place, now the running game was gone.
Yeah. Well, see, that's something you brought up, Big C. It reminds me of that tandem, and history like nobody. Out here in the West Coast, that tandem that they have now with Beckham and also Marshall, it reminds me of Jerry Rice and John Taylor back in the day when they played for the 49ers. They also had Brent Jones, to throw the football to. But one tandem that I thought could have worked better, but maybe ego got in the way, and I want to ask you about the ego, okay? When Jerry Rice they were trying to move him out from the 49ers because they had this young stud receiver by the name of Terrell Owens, and there were a lot of people saying, well, can T.O., why would T.O. be the guy that takes over Jerry Rice? He dropped a lot of passes. Jerry Rice was still the guy that everybody loved in San Francisco. But history shows us that these are two of the top 3 and 4 receivers in the history of the NFL, but still the 49ers, Mariucci was the coach at that time, and they did not utilize both of them. Will we have the same issue for the Giants, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you want to look at the best triplet of receivers to ever play on one team at a time, Charlton?
Yeah.
Look at the Minnesota Vikings, the year that they lost to the Atlanta Falcons, and the Falcons went to the Super Bowl against the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, down in Miami, yeah.
The Minnesota Vikings had Chris Carter,
Yeah.
Jake Reed, and Randy Moss.
Okay, yeah.
You had 3 receivers that were all at least 6'3", Charlton.
Yeah.
All of them had 1,000 yards of reception that year. Randall Cunningham made the Vikings to an NFL scoring record that year, Charlton.
Yeah.
And that showed people when you had a set of triplets that could play the game with size and speed, what a team could do. And the NFL went away from that standard.
Yeah.
Of having those 3 dominant receivers. Although Green Bay has tried to maintain that over the years, they just have not found 3 great receivers. They've always had 2 and 1 workable one, Charlton. But to be able to find 3 great receivers and put on one roster at the same time, if you can accomplish that, and with the salary cap, that has always limited that also, Charlton, because everybody wants to get paid.
Yeah.
So players have gone where the money has been. You look back at Denver a couple years ago, Charlton, when they went to the Super Bowl the first year that Manning was there, when they had Decker, they had Sanders, and they had, I'm trying to say the kid, number 10, that they had.
Yeah.
They had 3 outstanding wide receivers. Manning set an NFL record for yards
Yeah, that's true.
And so it makes a difference. You don't go out and pass for all those yards. Even look at the Raiders. Even though they had a makeshift core, look at the year that Carr was having throwing the ball, but they ran 3 wideouts most of the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't remember that Dan Marino operated with 3 wideouts on a regular basis. You know, when he was in Miami.
Yeah.
You know, he had the Marks brothers, and he also had another receiver. So, you know,
I believe Clayton was his name.
Of what receivers can do to an offense, Jonathan, when you want to spread out a defense, is that you take away that run-stopping defense, so the run game is strong and the screen game is strong, with your backs out of the backfield.
Yeah.
That these mismatches with linebackers. There's so many more offensive opportunities to that offense that, you know, now it's an electrifying game.
Well, I think that's a very good point. Also, bring up something back in the day. I remember one of the greatest, I guess, tight end performances I ever saw was Winslow when San Diego played Miami. It was a playoff game down in the old Orange Bowl, Big C, and Dan Fouts lit it up. I mean, these guys were throwing the ball all over the place, but I remember they had a great passing game, but it wasn't just Winslow that Dan Fouts had to throw to. Even back in the day, these guys were not as fast, but Biletnikoff, and you also look at Branch for the Raiders when they had, you know, Kitty the Snake Snabler. They didn't have the deep downfield threat. I mean, Branch could run it deep, but a lot of times I know they had Davis in the backfield running the football, but they were a team that used all of their receivers and they spread the ball out a lot. The same way Joe Montana did with Rice, and also back in the day when he had the gentleman Taylor and Rice. Yeah, Dwight Clark, but he wasn't a speed burner. Yeah, but
that was the trick was in San Francisco. But when you talk about Eric Coryell in San Diego,
yeah,
which was the epitome of offensive football, you gotta also understand Eric Coryell actually started in St. Louis.
Okay.
He started in St. Louis with Jim Hart at quarterback, and you know he had Roy Green, and he converted him from a defensive back to make him a 3-time All-Pro.
He was amazing.
Metcalf coming out of the backfield. So he knew how to utilize offensive weapons. But when he went to San Diego and took it to a new level, we had Charlie Joyner, who was not a young receiver in the NFL, who came over from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
We had James Jefferson, who came over from New Orleans. Kellen Winslow, who he had also as a tight end, who revolutionized the tight end game in the NFL. He had James Brooks out of the backfield, who he picked up from Cincinnati also.
Yeah.
But Eric Coryell knew how to manipulate a defense. And you talk about that game down in Miami.
In the Orange Bowl.
Which was still by far and away one of the greatest.
Oh, amazing.
games in history. Forget about the scores of other games, Charlton.
Yeah.
But you talk about a nail-biter. There was a nail-biter. Don Strock was the quarterback. He was the backup quarterback because Greasy had gotten hurt.
Yeah.
So Don Strock had taken over a quarterback in that game. And the plays that were in that game that were made up and down this field on this very humid night down in Miami at that time was just unbelievable. But when you look at how, you know, San Diego would split Winslow out.
Yeah.
So they ran the 3-receiver set all the time. And a lot of times they ran a quad set because you could bring Brooks out because he was such a slashing, small running back and scattered that, you know, it would take a defensive back to cover.
Yeah.
But they had this other hulking running back in the backfield named Chuck Murphy, who went to college
At Cal Berkeley, yeah.
in their neighborhood, who was one of the most powerful running backs of his time in the NFL. So this offensive was revolutionary at the time. It was equal to an offense in today's NFL. It's just, you know, San Diego never had the defense to push them over the top. And they were in the same division as the Raiders, much as the Houston Oilers were in the same division as the Steelers during that time.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you sit there and people say, you know, this game of football is so exciting now, those people didn't see those games in those days, Charlton. To see the offensive firepower of the NFL in the late, you know, in the early 80s,
Back in the day, yeah. Well, let me ask you this question, Big C. I just want to say that this segment is sponsored by Big C Sports. You know, boys and girls sports is a $1 billion industry, and with Big C Sports and the iHeart Radio Network, we do athletic insurance through Ben and Mark. We're in all 50 states, And if you need insurance for a professional team, a collegiate team, your high school, or even your mom and pop soccer leagues, tweet out to Big C Sports on the iHeart Radio Network every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network. As you were just talking about some of those great players back in the day, Big C, you talked about Strock and, of course, Montana, of course. When you look at some of the quarterbacks now, they're saying they're going to let go of Tony Romo tomorrow. You have Garoppolo out of New England. Tyrod Taylor, I think he would be just a perfect fit for someone who wants to open up their offense. I don't know why Jay Cutler's still in the talks. And then you have Colin Kaepernick. Which one of those guys, if you're trying to put someone in a system, and that system has to work, Big C, out of Romo, Garoppolo, Tyrod Taylor, Cutler, or Colin Kaepernick, which one do you think has the most upside? I think only one has been in the Super Bowl, Big C. Your thoughts? Yeah.
I really like what he can do. When I look at Romo, that's way he can win right now. Yeah, he can also get hurt tomorrow also.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing about it. Will he pass a physical? Will he not get hurt coming out of the locker room? That's the big question mark with Romo. The other quarterbacks have shown that they have durability. Jay Cutler, you got to figure out, does he care about the game? That's what you look at with Jay Cutler. Does he care about the game? And that hasn't been proven at any stage of his career that he really cares about it. When you look at him, he may look like a polished quarterback for 3 quarters, and the wheels fall off in the next one.
Well, could it be an issue? Could it be an issue, Big C, of I'm going to bring it up because everybody's talking about it. Could it be something to do with CTE where a guy just looks like he's not there, and maybe he hasn't been properly diagnosed because you can't trade a good bill of goods if people know he has some issues? Would that make any sense, Big C? Yeah.
He can thread the needle. Okay, he can thread the needle, but he can't sew.
Yeah. Sounds like me, Big C. I can thread it too, but I can't. I keep sewing my fingers together. That's not a good thing, Big C.
Can't throw it, throw it to everybody on the field. That's been the problem throughout his career.
Yeah.
And so his focus, I think, is the biggest problem. And, at what point do you stop paying a guy $100 million contract and he's not 500 as a career?
Today, Big C, that's when you stop.
The problem with the NFL is that they pay so much money on potential and not productivity to white quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So they've had that potential privilege throughout the history of the game and don't have to produce it. And we've seen it over and over. When you look at the musical chairs that's about to take place with the quarterbacks, okay?
Yeah.
And everybody saying that you have to win now. What team is in position in the NFL that can win right now that needs a quarterback? Let me tell you, 0. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what it is, 0. So everybody who goes out there and gets one of these quarterbacks on the free agency market, y'all, if you look at the odds in Vegas where you hang out on a periodic.
Hey, allegedly, okay? Hey, some people say I look like Charles Barkley. Mine is about 200 pounds, Big C, so don't get it twisted, okay?
Their odds on winning the Super Bowl are not great.
Yeah.
Those teams that will go out and sign any of these quarterbacks. You said the 49ers signed Hoyer today.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Their odds on winning the Super Bowl, what, 200 to 1?
Yeah.
It's not higher.
Yeah.
So that lets you know if you're on the market for a quarterback right now and you're desperate, and they say Denver probably has the best odds if they get a quarterback. Well, Denver's defense is not what Denver's defense was 2 years ago. Okay?
Yeah.
There's a lot of pieces that have changed. Their offensive line is not what it was, nor their running game what it was 2 seasons ago. So Denver right now is about 10 players removed from that Super Bowl. And 10 players is not easy to replace in the NFL.
Yeah.
So this is a team that's not ready to win right now either, Jonathan. So if you're talking about a team that's ready to win, those are the teams that were in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
So if any team needs a quarterback to get to the next level, there's one. That's Houston, Jonathan. Period. Houston, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Other than that, the other teams are going to have losing records. And New Orleans is the best team with a losing record with a quarterback. That's Drew Brees, and
he's not going anywhere. So let me ask you, Big C, with all the talk that we've seen on the quarterbacks, it seems like everybody's scrambling to get a quarterback that was not good enough to get to the playoffs are not even good enough to start in some cases. Why are these guys worth so much money that's going to turn a franchise around? I would think the 49ers, instead of going with the guy that had a broken arm last year, and, you know, Colin Kaepernick had some issues, but he still was about 70% of their offense. If you can't get someone who's 70% of your offense and keep that person, you're going to replace him for a guy that had a broken left arm last year. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I want to get your thoughts on another guy that had some injuries. You look at Matt Ryan for the New York Jets. There was a time he threw over 30 touchdown passes, you know, just a couple seasons ago, and he kind of let it be known that he wasn't happy with the ownership there in the Jets. So maybe he's kind of closed a lot of doors. But your thoughts on Ryan Fitzpatrick? Does he have anything left? I think he does have something to offer a team. Big C, your thoughts?
If he goes anywhere, he would be in a backup role, you know, because I don't think that anybody, and he's been a career backup.
Yeah.
When you think about him moving around the NFL, he happened to have this great year with the Jets, and they didn't feel that they wanted to invest any money in him, Charles. They didn't have a proven quarterback on the roster, so they held out on him, and by him holding out, he didn't have the greatest of seasons. But when you look at these free agent quarterbacks out there, Charles, how many of them have more than one playoff victory?
Yeah.
That's the question you have to ask yourself.
You know what I noticed among all of them, Big C?
You can talk about the young guys coming out of college, the potential, the upside,
Yeah.
being franchised. We saw that last year with the two franchise quarterbacks that were taken, okay?
Yeah.
In first and second in the draft. You can talk about all the quarterbacks out here on the free agency market. You know, who can do what, who's potential to do what. Charlton, there's only one free agent quarterback that's out there that's won more than one playoff game.
Yeah.
And yet everybody's looking at him, you know, like he's a left.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens sometimes for African American quarterbacks, Big C. So for every NFL GM, for every TV prognosticator, everyone that's saying they want guys that can win, I think they should have coined this talk, because I think Jimmy Johnson said it. He was either at Miami or the Dallas Cowboys. He said, I want guys that can play. Give me guys that can play and go on any team. I don't care if it's football, basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey. Anyone that accounts for 70% of your offense, and you can't find a way to build a team around him, that's because you're stupid. I think the problem with the 49ers are going to keep happening because they keep letting go of the obvious. The guys that have been to a Super Bowl and guys that can win are right there. I want to get one more thought on a guy that I think has a lot of football left in him, but people keep talking about his age. And that's the great Adrian Peterson. He was an All-American at Oklahoma and led them to a national championship where they were blown out by USC. I think it was 55-19, and that was a game back in the day when Reggie Bush played for the Southern California Trojans. Yeah, I have to go back a long time to get us to win a championship, basically, but I'm finding it, okay? But Adrian Peterson, he's not washed up, or would you take a chance on him in the next 2 or 3 years, Big C? Your thoughts?
Charles, if I'm a team that's a winning team and my ground game hasn't been that solid, I'd weigh in on Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Because I feel that he has that work ethic that you need to get to the next level. And when you look at teams that were in the playoffs, the ones who took Green Bay, I mean, when you talk about a team that really needs some help, Green Bay needs some help at running back. They ended up playing a greater receiver.
The kids won't let him go to the same division, though. They won't let that happen, will they?
Well, they have no choice now. He's a free agent, and he's free to go wherever he wants. Okay? I also think about a team like New Orleans, that he can help. I mean, they got Ingram, a young back, but Adrian Peterson's a more dependable back. You know, you look at Houston, his hometown.
Yeah.
This is a team that, you know, has played running back like Moody. Even the Denver Broncos, Charlton, had problems at running back last year. I feel that he could do some help there. And even Seattle, I like him, really like him up in the Pacific Northwest. Because he's a Pete Carroll type player. He's a team guy, Charlton. And I think that he would really help.
Oh, he would be amazing. He would be amazing with Russell Wilson. Yeah.
And so even the Eagles, Charlton, wouldn't be a bad look. Because, you know, when Darren Sproles is really the main target running back, he's more of a specialist. Because Matthews can't stay healthy. And you give him all this money. You know, you got to look at teams that are on the cusp or in the playoff hunt.
Well, that's why, Big C, that's why you brought up a point under Pete Carroll. He would be a great feature in Seattle because of it get kind of beast mode part 2. Also, Seattle, they're still a good team even though they had some injuries last year. They only have to beat San Francisco twice. They only have to beat the LA Rams twice. They only have to beat the Arizona Cardinals twice. And no win. the NFC West. If you want to get into the playoffs and you're Adrian Peterson, you go up into the great Northwest, you're playing on turf, you have great coaching, you have a great quarterback that's going to take a lot of pressure off of you running the football. They've improved their defense is still good. They're a little bit banged up because a lot of their guys, their best years were last year. But you're looking at a weak San Francisco team, a weak Los Angeles Rams team, and then Arizona that's kind of standing on their last leg, Big C. Seattle should win the NFC West, and that gives you the best chance to have a run at the Super Bowl again, Big C, even though they have to contend with Dallas. And maybe, just maybe, the Giants have upped themselves to the number one position in the NFC. Would that make any sense, Big C?
Well, they moved equal to Dallas. I wouldn't say that they leapfrogged Dallas, but
Yeah.
they moved equal to Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay, that's because of that passing game, and they beat Dallas twice.
Twice.
As everybody knows.
Yeah.
They were two of Dallas's losses. So those are the real challenges. Washington, you don't worry about. You know that it's going to be a dogfight in the NFL South with Atlanta, Tampa, and Carolina.
Yeah.
So those teams, that's the next step as well. But when you talk about the NFC West, you're guaranteed 5 out of 6 victories within the conference.
Yeah, and they're not going to lose at home. They're not going to lose the game at home. They only have trouble with Arizona down in the desert for some reason. Maybe it's that dry heat inside of that dome. Do they pump in heat in the dome, Big C, when they bring those fish down from Seattle, Big C? Is that what it is? Yeah, that's funny.
When you look at that division, San Francisco's a team in this way. You think about this, Charles.
Yeah.
Since you went to the Super Bowl, you've had 4 different head coaches.
Yeah.
In 4 years.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh, Thomasula, Kelly,
Yeah.
and now Shanahan.
Yeah.
4 coaches in 4 years. And so you talk about having stability in an organization that doesn't exist in San Francisco. You give a guy 6 years, yeah, that's nice. But you have nothing for him to work with in this 6 years. How long are you going to take him to have people that want to come to San Francisco? It used to be a flagship franchise in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's no longer a flagship franchise. If you want to go there just to get paid through free agency, you go there. But to sit there and say, this is a team that's on the uprise, I don't know where you find that at. When you have no offensive line, no defensive line, and no secondary.
Yeah.
So where's the great upswing? Yes, you can bring in a lot of people, but you're going to have salary cap implications. That's going to be a problem. But also, you got to look at an organization that's won how many games in the last 2 years?
You can count them on one hand, Big C, on one hand.
One hand to count the victories of a team that was in the Super Bowl just 4 years ago.
They have more championships than they had won games last year, Big C. That's how bad things have gotten with the 49ers. Yeah, that's true. Hey, let me ask you this question in the final 10 minutes of the program, Big C. I just want to pay a little bit of homage to some of the women out there that are doing their thing in the world of prep sports, because we cover it all from pro to college to high school. In the top 25, I'm going to run down the top 10 of girls basketball. There's Riverdale of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. They're 31-0, Big C. How do you win 31 games in a 0? And then number 2, St. John's College out of Washington, D.C. They're 31-2. I don't think Donald Trump goes to any of their games, Big C. Paul the 6 out of Fairfax, Virginia, 32-2. There's Centennial out of Las Vegas. They are 31-2. Number 5 is Clovis West out of Fresno, California, 30-2. Number 6, Miami Country Day out of Miami, 29-1. Number 7 is Macon out of Richmond, Virginia, 29-0. Number 8 is Hamilton Heights out of Christian, Chattanooga, Tennessee, 28-1. Big C. Number 9 is Norcross of Georgia, and they're 29-2. And number 10 is Grandview from Aurora, Colorado, at 25-1. Number 11 is Archbishop Mitty out of San Jose, California. I want to run down just a few things for the NBA, and I want to congratulate and get your thoughts on the great Dirk Nowitzki. I know tonight, on this beautiful Wednesday of Women's Month, we have a lot of good games in the NBA tonight. Orlando, they are off. I mean, there's no point spread against Chicago. They're going to be probably a 1-point favorite. You have Miami favored by 4 over Carolina. Atlanta's favored by 9 over Brooklyn. Milwaukee's favored by 5 over New York. The Clippers are favored by 2.5 over Minnesota. New Orleans, with the Cousins down there now, a 2-point favorite over Toronto. Indiana, has anyone found where Larry Bird is, Big C? Has he even made an appearance since that $400 million was hit back in the day? Have you heard from Larry Bird, Big C?
Larry's all setting up a truth with him. I think the Jacksons did a song, Back to Indiana. I don't think Larry's going back.
That's funny. I don't think anybody knows what a great Larry Bird is, but he'll come around again. Larry, you don't have to share that money anymore. They already take the taxes out. And that we have Houston, a 5-point favorite over Utah. San Antonio's by 15 over Sacramento, and they just might get it. And then Denver's they're 1-point favorite over Washington. Golden State's an 8-point favorite over Boston. I remember that Boston beat Golden State last year at the Coliseum. That's a game that Golden State should win, but in the NBA, anything is possible, Big C. Let me get your thoughts on a player that is one of the rare players to hit for 30,000 points. This guy is still doing his thing, and his name is Dirk Nowitzki. Obviously, he was kind of mobbed by his teammates last night, but just one of the guys Houston and San Antonio and Dallas, they had some of the greatest big men in the game. Houston, when you go back to Olajuwon, San Antonio with Duncan, and now Dirk Nowitzki for the Dallas Mavericks. Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, it's been a state. When they say about Texas, they do bigger than anybody.
Everything big, yeah.
And when you think about it, all three franchises in that state, Charleston, have won the NBA title. That's a rarity when you look around at states that every team in your state has won the NBA title when you have multiple teams. But Dirk Nowitzki, came into the NBA some 19 years ago as this gangly, German player, drafted, and no one really thought anything of him. Matter of fact, he was traded originally when he was drafted, and he was drafted by Don Nelson, who drafted he and Steve Nash at the same time.
Oh yeah.
And so both of those players went on to become future MVPs of the league, Charles.
Yeah.
The one team draft 2 MVPs. That's a rarity when it's and neither one of them were black. So
yeah. Well, see, go ahead, Big C. Go ahead.
When you think about his contribution to the NBA, Charles, 19 years and 30,000 points and one this man has been unstoppable. He has his one-legged fadeaway jump shot.
Yeah.
But when you're 7 feet tall, not many people can get to it, Charles.
Yeah. That I'd say. Yeah.
When you think about it, you got to also give kudos to owner Mark Cuban, Charles.
Yeah.
Who has stayed with Dirk Nowitzki, who has built a franchise around him, and given this man much respect over his time and his ownership with the club, Charles.
Yeah.
That he has been the face of the franchise. And even more so than being the face of the franchise, Charles, you don't see him on any bloggers like you see a lot of other players.
Yeah.
Dirk Nowitzki has been a model citizen. I don't know how much longer he can stay a citizen with Donald Trump talking about it.
He might be deported. That's funny.
Number 5 all-time leading scorer.
Yeah.
Being deported out of the country because of this ban that's out there now, having his work visa taken away from him. So, Charlton, I want to give kudos and credence to Dirk Nowitzki for his fine, fantastic, ambassador-like NBA career. Because you got to understand, in the European bloc, everybody knows who Dirk is. So he's a great ambassador for the NBA, not just a great representative here in Dallas and in the United States, but a great European ambassador for the game. And former Commissioner David Stern knew all of that, and he helped nurture and cultivate that with Dirk and many other European players, Charlton, to make this a global game like Charlton and Big C Sports.
Yeah, and see, then I like the fact that you bring that up. The guy that's 7 feet, but he plays like he's a 6'7" guy. He's so agile with the ball. He's not someone who has a hard time walking around, because of his size. There are a lot of big guys. He reminds me of a white version of Kevin Garnett, guys that get the ball, and it doesn't matter where they are. They can knock down a three. They can get down into the post. They can score in the paint. They're good on defense, and they have the respect of their teammates, Big C. And it's, again, how sports can transcend anything. It's amazing how sports, and I just want to bring this up because it's real talk. Last night, when he hit the basket, not only did they give him a standing ovation, some of the African-American teammates were the first ones to congratulate him, Big C. It wasn't about, well, he's not black, so he can't do it. And I know some people talk about that when it comes to hiring guys. Can they get along with this organization? Are they the right fit? Could you just imagine if the world of politics were the same way the world of sports is, and this is worldwide, where people liked you based on your character and didn't matter what your color was. They were embracing this guy like he was their brother. I think that's been missing from our country, especially because of the vice of politics. Big C, your thoughts on that?
Well, Charles, in playing sports for so many years, I mean, everybody in the locker room was your brother, whether you liked him or you didn't like him, they were your brother. You any family, everybody doesn't get along every day. But you also have that common denominator, that bond of the family.
Yeah.
And that's what athletics brings to so many people. When you look at the various backgrounds that athletes have, you look at a football team with the number of players you have on a football team, professional team, even a college team, John. But think about when you're recruiting nationally, like some of the top teams in the country, you're bringing guys from various backgrounds, various regions of the country into these universities, and they're all meshing together, Jonathan, with that common goal.
Yeah.
You know, and it helps them develop as young men into life. And that's what you look at when you look at Dallas last night. It's an international team.
Yeah.
They have players from several different countries on that team, Jonathan. Luau Dang is on that team.
Yeah.
You know, as well as, and he's out of Sudan.
Yeah.
You know, as well as Dirk Nowitzki and a few other players, Jonathan. You know, Paul Marone was on that team for a while, and he's from South America.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you look at this team and you look at the NBA, it shows what our current president is trying to stop. The influx of people from around the world who are contributing to American society. That's what these bans are that he's trying to do. Think about the number of players in all professional leagues, Jonathan. Hockey, basketball, baseball, and even football. Especially soccer now that we have professional soccer in the United States.
Yeah.
Think about how many people are going to be affected. Think about the colleges and universities that have athletes from all over the world, especially the track and field, swimming and tennis athletes.
Yeah.
They come from all over the world to participate at American universities. These bans that are being put out will affect this, Charlton.
Yeah.
You know, wrestlers, you know, hockey players. And so these teams, these universities, will be devoid of these young athletes. Look at Gino Ariema.
Yeah.
Who has 3 Europeans on his team.
Yeah.
106 consecutive victories, 107 consecutive victories.
Yeah.
Think about how that may affect the University of UConn and many other women and men's programs around the country, Charles.
Well,
This is what America is not recognizing. They're thinking, oh, he's just going after certain countries.
Yeah.
No, he's going after people that are contributing to America. Tell me the next time you go to a hospital or a doctor's office and you don't see the foreign worker in one of these places, Charles, issuing you medical treatment, a dentist's office, that you don't see a foreign worker. This is what we're talking about as a ban. So this ban that you're talking about is talking about extreme vetting.
yeah.
You're talking about vetting people who are helping Americans stay alive. And when I talk about those medical professionals, Charlotte, there is an extreme shortage of medical professionals in the U.S. I don't know whether they don't want to participate or educationally spend the time to get to that point.
Yeah.
But when you look at the contributions in American medicine from foreign-born workers, whether it's doctors, nurses, Johnson, these people, pharmacists, that contribute to the betterment of American lives every day. You have to question the person that's making the decision. The same person that's stripping you of your health care is the same person that's going to strip you from medical assistance, Johnson.
Well, that's incredible, Big C. And I'll let you close out the show because I want to just say I love what we do with Big C Sports. I love being on the iHeart Radio network. I love being voted the #1 sports show in the universe, Big C, according to you good old boys down south. But I just want to pay homage to all the women who not only follow sports, but for the ones who are not just happy with being the status quo, irrespective of what color, what gender, what religion, all of that doesn't matter. People are people. I'm so emboldened by women taking the time to acknowledge that oftentimes, just like Dr. King, change starts with some protest, Big C. Change doesn't start when you acquiesce to the status quo. So I want to just give a shout out to all the women all over the world that are saying, hey, I matter. You know, I'm more than just a woman. I'm more than just a sex symbol. And for Melania Trump to say her husband gets mad when she doesn't have dinner ready, I mean, what kind of woman goes to college so she can learn how to make dinner for her husband? I mean, if that's what you aspire to, that's fine. But just give me, in about 30 seconds, Big C, your thought on what it means to you that have women all over the world being emboldened to take a chance to stand up against, I guess, bigotry and all the other stuff going on, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charles, we talk about the importance of women in American society and even the world culture.
Yeah.
Think about what's going on right now. You got the women's bracketology going on where they're having these conference tournaments.
Yeah.
What if all the women decided we're not going to play today?
Wow.
What type of impact would that have had on NCAA revenue at this time time of the year. But in all the conference centers that's taking place, and if all the women that have sat down, taken a knee or whatever, said, we're going to back out of this today. You men are not going to make any money off of us today.
Yeah.
What type of social and financial impact will that have across the institutions of America? So we have to understand and recognize the importance of women. They're not just cheerleaders out there doing sporting events.
Yeah.
They're not just the sideline reporters. They are events. Charlton, they are so significant and important in our society, and not just in sports, but in everything. It starts with the mothering and nurturing of the children.
Yeah.
But when you look at what every man has come from in American society, regardless of success level that they've achieved, it's come from the nurturing of a woman, Charlton. That's what it has come from. So on days like this, not just this month, Charlton, but days like this, every American turn to that woman in his life and that woman that gave him life and say, I love you.
That is very powerful, Big C. And I'm going to tell you, we do it every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And also, Big C Sports have been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, especially on a day like today, there's never any room for any violence against women. No one should have to tolerate any man grabbing them by the crotch or being physical with them. If you see anyone going through that garbage, just call 911. And as we always tell you, every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide, follow Big C Sports on the iHeart Radio Network. And as we always tell you, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.